Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday. We are here today to, of course, as always, give you some news that we can use, news that you can use for your everyday health journey or your health sustenance. I know I've been missing for a little while. I've had some serious changes in my schedule as well as a death in the family. So things have been a little off lately, but we're getting back on track. So I'm here in California with a few of my family members. I'm gonna show you, I got a crowd now, so y'all be amazed at my growth. I have a crowd, but I only found 3 people that would listen to me. There's one, my mother. Say hello, Mom. There's my aunt over there, my Aunt Lillian, and this is my brother over here. So I got a live crowd. I've actually moved up in the world. Y'all help me that. But seriously, to all of you who are faithful and continue to come in and check out the programs that we are doing to try to help you, of course, improve your health. Thank you for continuing to support. And I apologize for missing for the last few weeks. But again, we're back. Probably won't be doing one every week, but I will be figuring out the schedule and, of course, letting you all know at what frequency I'll be doing them so that we can continue to build and grow. Denise, thank you for coming in. Lawrence and Anita Lake, thank you for coming in. So let's go ahead and start as we always do by asking the Creator to bless us and give us the open mind and an open heart so that we not only gather new information, but also use the information to improve our lives. Most of us know there's something that we should be doing a little different, something we should be doing a little better. We know we should be drinking more water, exercising more, change some things in our eating habits. We all know that. So let's not just here get information, but let's also make a pact with ourselves that we're going to do something about and do something with the information that we get. I also asked the Creator to give me an open mind and an open heart to give you information that you can use and to remove my impediments and to remove my ego and allow me to be a vessel that He can use to help benefit your life. So let's move on into the program. So we are coming into the flu season. I'm sure like all of you see, every time you go to a grocery store, every time you go to a pharmacy, you see signs out in the store about coming and get your flu shot. And then of course there's always other shots that they try to give you as well. But my point is that this is so-called flu season, and there are many propaganda out there that's trying to promote you to getting a shot to improve your health. Zambezi, thank you for coming in. And so the idea that I want to kind of get us to think about when we're taking that in consideration is when we think about nature. Terry Harris, thank you for coming in. We have to consider that there are animals. Shirley X, thank you for coming back. I'm glad I'm back too. Thank you so much. There are animals that we see every day. Some of you have dogs. Some of you look outside, you see birds, you see squirrels. If we were to go further out in the country, you see deer, you see, depending on what part of the country you're in, you see animals. Do they ever get shots to make it through the cold season? Do they ever get shots to make it on an everyday basis, a year after year, month after month, day after day battle of life? And they're not even in the same type of environments that we are in. Hey, can you do me a favor, make sure that's plugged in, bro? I think the plug came out. So that is the first question that I want to ask you is, if animals don't need a shot to make it through the cold season, why do you need a shot to make it through a cold season? A lot of times they talk about flu and colds and things of that nature, that they are the type of infections that we get when we start having cold weather, and then people start coming and being more around each other, right? There's more of an inside, people start to gather inside of buildings rather than doing things outdoors like they do in the summertime. And so it's because of that closeness of people that infections start to get spread from person to person. So it's not about getting a shot that's going to boost your immune system. It's about taking care of yourself and doing the things that boost your immune system naturally. And then you won't need to worry about the flu. Now, how am I sure about that? Because I am the person, a person who works in the healthcare field. In January, it will be 23 years, and I have never had a flu shot. And I don't get the flu every year like most doctors that I know. As soon as sick people start coming to most doctors, they start getting sick. Why? Because they don't know what to do to boost their immune system. So we have to consider these ideas, and you have to also consider things that typically cause cold and flus like rhinovirus, adenovirus, or whatever the type of virus is. It's very easy for your immune system to kill that and to keep your body healthy. So for you to believe that you need that, then you have to continue to process that type of information, because my statement about a flu shot is this. If you believe in God, now we started today's program by giving honor to God and asking Him for His grace on our program. And if you do believe in God, and even if you do believe in something greater than us, that's a different name. Let's say you don't say God, you use the word creator, or you use the word the essence, or you use the word the great, whatever. If there's something that intelligent that produced us, why would we need a shot to boost what we've been given by something greater than us? If we were given these great bodies, then there has to be something in the same reality that we live in that can help this body maintain itself at a very high level. And so that's what I am suggesting, is that there are things that we can do. And most of you who have a concern about your health know what I'm talking about. You go on the internet, you see people talking about taking garlic and apple cider vinegar, or eating onions, or drinking this type of juice. So those things are a reality. We know that. And so if those are things that you believe can boost your immune system, then let's get to those things instead of relying on somebody to go into a laboratory, come back with a shot, making you think that's going to make you better. But in reality, there's so many things in that shot that you haven't been allowed to know, or you haven't done the research, so you don't know that there's a potential that you're doing a lot of damage to yourself. Donnie Lake, thank you. I missed you all too, so I'm happy to be back. I was trying to pull something up on the internet to show that was talking about this infection up in the New Jersey area that so-called made a bunch of people sick, and I think even killed a few people. And so it's just based on the same thought, you all. Don't allow somebody to make you make decisions in your life based on fear. You have to make decisions based on knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and that way you don't have any negativity to the things you do. Alan Bowden, thank you for coming in. So let's go ahead and get into the program for today, which is what's in your bathroom. Again, this is, an extension of what we did the last time, which was what is in your kitchen, right? Where we were talking about some of the things that we can do as individuals to make our health better, because it's an everyday battle in a world that has so much toxicity. And just to be personal for a minute, my aunt, who lost the battle with staying alive a few weeks ago, she had a very preventable problem. And it wasn't, in my estimation, from my viewpoint, it wasn't necessary for her to be gone. But because of circumstances, and sometimes we have these ideas that we are we may not necessarily want people to know our business. In a black community, there are a lot of times where people will say things like, what happens in this house stays in this house. Well, there are certain things probably that we should keep to ourselves, but sometimes those things that we say are things that we should express, we should get help with. And I believe that if my aunt had reached out and had let more of us in the family, preferably myself, to understand what was going on with her, I think she may still be here today. That being said, she's not, and that is one of the proponents of me continuing to try to do this show, so that we all have the type of information that we can use to make ourselves more healthy. So we're going to start with today something that I believe a lot of people have in their bathrooms, and that is shampoo. I'm sorry, this is lotion. Okay, so here it is that you have daily moisturizing lotion. That's Aveeno. I think a lot of people use that. Then what they have here, they say personal care cocoa butter skin lotion with vitamin E. Now understand that when you buy these products, as I've always talked about, you can't base what you are going to do based on what it says on the front of the container. You always have to read the ingredients. And so that's what we're dealing with today, for you all to look at the type of products that you may have in your house. And you can't necessarily say whether this is good or bad based on what it says on the outside, because they're always going to be using some type of way to get to you. Now here on this one, it says apricot and honey lotion. Now most people know that apricot is probably good for us. A lot of people know that honey is good for us, and a lot of people know that honey is also good for your skin. So they put it in this product to do what? As a marketing strategy for you. Clinically proven, this one says, to relieve dry skin, moisturizes for 24 hours. This one over here says what? Helps soothe and relieve extra dry skin. Now, the question is, that I have for everybody that's listening is, if you do lose lotion, and it's to moisturize your skin, how is it possible that your skin dries up by the next day? What does that mean? Well, I'm not going to go into in depth, because again, this is something that I actually, do. This is what I come to people's homes, and this is how I make my living. But the point that I'm getting to is, all of these products have alcohol in them. I'm talking about isopropyl alcohol. Not only is it well, I'm not talking about alcohol that you drink. I'm talking about isopropyl alcohol like you put on your skin. That's a desiccant. It's called a drying agent. And so what we want to do is look real quickly at some of the possible effects that taking these things can do to you. So I hope you all can see this pretty well on this screen. It says dizziness, low blood pressure, stomach pain, rapid heart rate, low body temperature, slurred speech, slow breathing, nausea, vomiting, unresponsive reflexes, throat pain or burning, and coma. Dwayne Mix and Raleigh Alexander, thank you for coming in. So when you look at a product that you are putting on your body every day, right? Because what typically people do when it comes to lotion is they do what? They get up in the morning, they take their shower, and then they go straight to a product like this and start putting this product on their body, sometimes from head to toe. And so if you are putting a product on your skin to moisturize your skin, and let's go back to what it says in the front. Every single one of these products uses soothe and relieve dry skin, moisturize your body, moisturizing lotion. So you're doing it every day because you believe it, and you haven't read the ingredients, and so the isopropyl alcohol and other chemicals that are drying agents in these products dry out your skin, and that's why you need lotion multiple times a day, or you need lotion every day, because we don't understand that what we are doing every day is potentially causing the problem, okay? So I hope that makes sense, why we started with that. And then next is what I hope everybody does, is brush their teeth, right? I'm sure most of us or all of us brush our teeth, but the question is, what are you brushing your teeth with? And I believe that most of us probably have heard the statement, you need fluoride for good teeth, for strong teeth. So here it is. This is Crest toothpaste, and its ingredient, the major ingredient in it is what? Sodium fluoride. And the question is, I sit here with my mother and my aunt, and there are a lot of things that I know my grandmother didn't do that they started doing because of the suggestions that the medical community tell to people. T. Farrell, thank you for coming in. So fluoride, they started adding it into our water. They started putting it in our toothpaste and other things in the 50s, so-called to help prevent cavities. So my question to everybody listening is, have you seen cavities go down since the 50s? Have you done any research to figure that out? I have, and the honest truth is that cavities continue to get worse. Children are having more cavities. There's a need for more dentists. There are more and more procedures coming out to try to help people with cavities and how they fix cavities without so much pain and taking out teeth and all those type of things. Because the reality is that we have been sold an idea that hasn't proven to be true. And so I'm just showing you a list. You all can find these lists for yourself. Look at all the potential side effects of fluoride. The ones that are most harrowing to me is the one that says cancer, brain damage, bone weakness, dental fluorosis, low estrogen and testosterone levels. I could go on and on and on and on and on. But if you wind up with some of these problems when you're 50, when you're 60, when you're 70, what doctor that you go to get help is going to say, hey, you know what? The problem that you are dealing with could potentially be because you've been brushing your teeth with fluoride in your toothpaste for the last 30, 40, 50 years. They're not going to think that because they don't even believe some of the things that I'm talking about. Kiana DeBose, thank you for coming in. She says, Sister Tracy, thank you for coming in. Sharon Rocket, thank you for coming in. Kiana DeBose says, speak about it. I healed my daughter's cavity with my all-natural products and toothpaste that I make myself. That's a wonderful point. And I'm going to get to that in a minute, so I thank you for bringing that up. She says, I haven't bought toothpaste from a store in a few years. We must educate ourselves. Absolutely. That is going to be a point. Kiana DeBose came and ended my show. I don't need to say anything else because she made the whole point that I was going to make in the show. No, but thank you. That's a wonderful point, Kiana. And I am going to get to some points like that towards the end. I really just want to kind of go through this process so that you all can understand how you have to start looking at your life. You have to take more control. And that's the point of the Ultimate Wellness Group, is to empower you, to give you the type of information where you can start looking at what it is that you can do. Because ultimately, what I'm talking about today is an overall look at what it is that we do on an everyday basis and how that affects you short-term and long-term. So let's move to something different. And that is what you wash your hands with every day. Look familiar to a lot of you, right? And the thing about this, again, is I'm going to keep making this point over and over and over again. Victor X, thank you for coming in. T. Farrell, that's your cousin. I sure appreciate you. Look at this. It says aloe vera liquid hand soap. And over here is almond milk. So, you know, again, we're getting these marketing ploys because these people want to make you think that they're selling you a product that's good for you. But as I always say, if we turn around and we start looking at the ingredients, some of you may be able to describe or even pronounce some of these words, but some of you don't. Some of you cannot pronounce some of those words, but yet you put this on your body every day, right? They call it aloe vera hand soap, but where is the aloe vera on the list? Almost all the way down at the end. Look at some of the other chemicals that are in this hand soap. Things, again, that you cannot pronounce, but yet the aloe barbadensis leaf juice is fifth from the end. And so if you don't know, when you buy products that have an ingredient list, when you start at the beginning of the list, that is the substance in that particular product that has the most content. And then as you go towards the end of the list, that's what's least. So automatically when we look at a product like this and we say this is aloe vera liquid hand soap, no, that's a lie. This should be marketed, if we were going to tell the truth, it should say poisonous hand soap with a little bit of aloe vera in it. I'm laughing because it really is crazy that marketing is such a thing in this country. Khalila Muhammad, thank you for coming in. And what you all have to understand, as I say all again, I'm going to continue to repeat it, is that marketers, people that go to school to become marketers, spend a lot of time in psychology. A lot of their college education is in psychology. So what does that tell you? That tells you that when you are being marketed to, they are using a lot of psychology. And what most of the time is the psychology is to touch base with you in some format in a emotional way. So you have some idea that you're doing something that's good for you, and they're going to tap into that reality and make you think that as well. So one more example. Again, we're talking about what's in your bathroom, right? You see there, VO5, Herbal Escapes Conditioner. And what do they have? A picture of a kiwi on there. Because most of us know that there are good things in kiwi, right? Again, Dove Deep Moisture, Nourishing Body Wash, olive oil, replenishing condition. Now this one right here, this is Redken. That looks like that might be like the one that looks the best, or has kind of the most original type thing, right? All soft conditioner shampooing, and then all-in-one shampoo plus conditioner. But again, without belaboring the point, without going into much more detail, each of you have to, if you have products like this, you got to start spending your time in the grocery store or in whatever store you buy your stuff. You have to start spending your time there. What do I mean by that? You have to start spending your time reading the ingredients of your products rather than looking at the marketing strategy that people are using to get you to buy things. Now here it is. Look at this product. Again, we're talking about something that maybe you can pronounce and maybe you can, but what I can tell you is most of the products in that one, all-in-one shampoo, are very toxic. The other thing that I would suggest that all of you do is when you buy your products, find out whether or not the product that you use has a material safety data sheet. If something has a material safety data sheet, what is that automatically telling you? That something is very poisonous about that. And they're starting to change the name because people are becoming more aware, people are becoming more educated. And so they're starting to change a lot of what the words that they use. And I think they've come away from material safety data sheet and started using other verbiage. But the point that I'm making is you have to do some research on the products that you use, because you use these things every day for 20 or 30, 40 years. And these chemicals that you can't pronounce are building up in your system. And so why does that cause a problem? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so Kiana DeBoe says, my goodness, I just stumbled across this live video and is elated to know that you are making people aware about the dangers that are hidden in our bath and beauty products. Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate the compliment. This is what I do. I try to help people, again, with news that they can use, because it's about empowerment. If people understand, then we will start to decrease the disease and the destruction that's happening because of our ignorance. She says, I make my own bath and beauty products because of this reason. And also the person on here called Victor, his wife does as well. My wife makes a lot of products as well. Donita Lake says, yes, psychology is indeed used in marketing tactics to deceive the consumers. Exactly. You guys have to understand that a person who is a marketer for a company, they're not marketing for your benefit. They're not marketing for your health's sake. They're marketing because they're trying to help the company make more money. So their point of having a job with this company is to do what? Is to make them as much money as possible so that they, as a marketer, can have what? A bigger salary. So let's understand that that's what the purpose of this show is to give you news that you can use. So I got a couple of other products. Excuse me for a second while I grab some of these. And one of the biggest things that I want to make sure that I really enforce in you is that this information that I'm giving you is not to make you afraid. It's not to put you in a status of fear. That should be the farthest of what this type of information produces in you. Because first of all, as I've said on many of occasions, How to Eat to Live mentions that we are a product of the earth, and the earth and all its products is what produces us. So being that that is true, you can go to a periodic table and you see all 118 elements. You know all of those elements are in your body to one degree or another. Like the wrong type of salt is bad for you. At the end of the day, we need everything on that periodic table, some greater, some little. We don't need a lot of gold in our body. We don't need a lot of titanium in our body. But you do need a lot of salt, potassium, and magnesium, and oxygen, and nitrogen, carbon, all the things that we need every day to reproduce some of the things that we're looking at in the mirror. And so your body has the ability to detoxify all of these chemicals out if you give it enough rest. If you're putting these type of things on your body every day, don't get leery. Just next time you go to the store, at the end of the show, we'll start talking about other options. You have to start choosing some different options, or like a couple of the people said, start making some of your own things. There are plenty of YouTube videos. I'll be producing some videos on how to make some of your own things. But my point is there are options out here. We have to start using our available tools to figure out what are some things that we can do different. Because fasting is the key to getting these toxins out of your body. And you have to eat the right foods to get the right things in your body so that you can have the ability to take these things out of your body. So don't get afraid. Don't, have this type of talk produce fear. No, that's not what the purpose of this is to give you information and empowering information. So a lot of people have WD-40 around the house, right? Very necessary substance for a lot of different things, creaking doors and this and that and this and that. Spray and wash, a lot of us have that. Nail polish remover for all the ladies, and these days even men that put substances that are in there, they're very, very poisonous. Now, I'm sure most people know that just based on the smell of acetone, which is the biggest ingredient in nail polish remover, it smells strong, it smells poisonous. Most people wouldn't drink that. Most people wouldn't put that in their mouth. But a policy and a ideology that I use is that if you would put on our body. So, be careful. Here's Crystal Ice for those of you who, may have an injury or some joint pain and you like putting on things of that nature. Foot powder for those of you who have stanky feet. I'm having odor coming from your feet and you put this in your shoes or in your socks and things of that nature. But again, each of these products you have to always, before you take it out of the store and bring it to your house, just look at the ingredients. Some of them don't have ingredients, right? These three on this side, they all have ingredient lists, but these products over here don't have ingredient lists, but what do they have? A little statement at the bottom that says, keep out of reach of children. Caution, eye and skin irritant. If you get it in your body and you can't wash it out, go to a doctor immediately. So I mean, that's obvious that that's a poison. That's a poison that could potentially cause you serious harm. There are a lot of products that all of us have in our homes that are like that. And again, you don't have to get yourself overly concerned, but do understand that these are things that your body has to fight every day. Breathing hazard. First aid contains petroleum distillates, harmful or fatal if swallowed. So there are a lot of things like this in our homes. And so it's just about understanding that, once you spend 30, 40, 50 years, as I said before, in your home of these type of products around you, then what starts to happen when these type of products are in you? And they're absorbing every time you use it, you get some on your skin. I can't get it to focus on this thing. But anyway, for those of you who have W40, just go look at the back of the bottle and see all the danger stuff they have on the back of the bottle. Again, this is not to make anybody feel like they are going to be overwhelmed. You just have to understand why it's important to drink water every day, why it's important to understand the difference between hydration and drinking water, why it's important to eat like I've talked about on many of occasions. All of these things are part of it, right? Because we're going to get to talking about something specific in just here in a minute, so we can get to the specifics on why we're going into this. So Denise says, wow, all of these products are toxic. Absolutely. And the other thing is that there are a lot of alternatives that aren't as toxic, but we're not going to get totally away from toxicity. We have to prepare our body to handle it. Victor says, get out of the quick fix convenience of grabbing something someone else made and put in a little time to preserve your life. Absolutely. That's the empowering statement of the day right there. Because you get out of life what you put into it. And so a lot of us work hard on jobs, and we work hard on our cars, and we work hard on making money, and we work hard on making sure our jewelry is shiny and nice and our clothes are whatever. But how much time each of us have to check within ourselves? How much time do you put in every day thinking about what is the food I'm putting in my body? What am I putting on my body? What am I being exposed to in the environment that I live? And how is this going to affect me long term? So right back at your point, Victor, not only making the things, taking some time on the weekend and maybe spending 3 or 4 hours to make some of your own soap, to make some of your own deodorant, to make some of your own whatever you're using. And you spend that 3 or 4 hours and it may last you for 3 or 4 months. That's a very worthwhile investment. That's going to improve your life and potentially keep you from winding up like auntie or uncle or granddad or father who was sick and you watched them walk into that reality. That's what we're talking about. So great point, bro. Alan says, Dr. Keely just thought about your name. I guess you're going to let me know what that means, because I don't understand, bro. Let me know, Alan Bowden. Jamil, yeah, thank you, bro. I was doing that, but it wasn't, for some reason, it wasn't focusing, but I appreciate you letting me know that. So why am I talking about this, and why am I making such a point in the last 2 programs about what's in your kitchen and what's in your bathroom? Because those are 2 places that we use a lot of products, and those are the 2 places where we spend a lot of our time. And so here it is that we are looking at the largest organ inside of the body, right? When we talk about the human body, most of us understand, most of us agree. There may be some people that argue, but I will say it as a statement of fact that the skin is the largest organ that we have. If you take all the skin off of a human and you ball it up into one ball, it would be bigger than the liver. But on the inside of the body, the liver is the largest organ. And there you see a picture of it. That red thing, that's your liver. When a person is a child, it is the only organ that we have in a human body that can regenerate itself. So let's say that this person that we're looking at the body of is a 14-year-old or a 9-year-old. You could literally go on that person and slice that liver, take pieces out, and that child in good health could regrow their liver. That's how important that organ is. That organ is what's dealing with most of what we're talking about today. When you put something in your body that you can't pronounce, and you look at the material safety data sheet and it talks about how poisonous it is, that's the organ right there that has to deal with those poisons. That's the organ that's trying to pull those things out. That's the organ that's trying to break it down and help your body get rid of it. Whether you send it out of the skin by acne, whether you send it out through defecation, whether you urinate it out, or whether it comes out in your lymph fluid and goes into defecation or urination, whichever way that it goes. So this organ right here is what is affected by a lot of chemicals over the years. And this is why a lot of times people, when they get older, you start seeing them having skin spots, or you start seeing them, in certain situations where you see people with these black spots on their face, and then they start hanging off. That's literally skin issues that happen year after year after year that come from this organ, your liver, being overwhelmed. A lot of people have things that happen on their skin. A lot of times that's what's happening. The body is overwhelmed. It's trying to send it out through the skin because the organs are overwhelmed. And then you wind up with these things and you go to a doctor and they either start cutting it off or they give you more medicines, would have more poisons, puts more toxins in your body, and the problems are never solved. You just continue to have this problem of worsening medical problems, and that's why you see people as they get older, they get more and more medications, more and more problems. Pill containers go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 to 10 to 15. And so, you know, that's the problem, is that we're not going to the solution. And today we are talking about that. Jamil says, what are some things we can do to guard against those products? I hope that I was just answering that. But yes, that's what we're going to get into the rest of the show. Alan Bowden, I said, I meant I was trying to remember your name, and I believe it's Dr. Keeley. Yes, that's me. Dr. Keeley here. So again, I also want to show that when you think about your overall health and you think about what we just finished talking about the skin being the largest organ, look at that picture there of the blood vessels on a human body or in the human body. There's not an aspect of your body that is not kept alive by the bloodstream. So if you look at that pay and all those chemicals that I just finished looking at are being absorbed through those blood vessels, which means that these chemicals are doing what? Going all over the body. And so that should just kind of be a little visual image of how I'm talking about why the body can be overwhelmed, because you are really talking about a very large surface area, right? Surface area means the exposure area of your body, Now, imagine we take my skin, all right? I know this may be a little gory for some of you, but I'm trying to make a point. If somebody was to take a scalpel and completely take off the outer layer of my whole skin and then lay it out on the floor. You know, that might be a little gory to think about that, but the point that I'm making is, look at how wide and how far that would reach if you would take all of this skin and lay it on the floor. Well, if you were to think of yourself like that, that's how much the surface area of these chemicals you're absorbing into your body. If you're wiping soap all over your whole body, it has poisons. Lotion over your whole body, and you may be putting some shampoo in your head, and you're brushing your teeth with some fluoride toothpaste, right? So potentially we could be putting so many toxins, so many poisons into our body every day. It could be a very, very large amount, because you're washing yourself every day. You're washing your hands with soap many times a day. You are putting lotion on your arms and maybe your face and your hands multiple times a day. So it can get to a point where all of those blood vessels are bringing all these toxins into the body. And imagine the inside of a blood vessel being affected by these poisons, and then the blood vessels start to have some problems, and that's what's causing your blood pressure problem, right? Your blood vessels are being affected, and your blood pressure can't maintain itself correctly. You go to the doctor, they talk about salt, but the problem is all the toxins that you're putting in your body. Most doctors wouldn't even think that that's a possibility, because they don't think outside of what was told to them in medical school. So I'm thankful that I'm able to give you information that's a little bit different. These are the type of things that you have to consider. So what can you do about these things, Jamil? You have to understand what the difference is between drinking water versus hydration. You have to understand that fasting is the greatest cure of any problem. It's the best healing that you can have. You know, when people talk about, I'm going to eat this or I'm going to get this nutrition to help my body heal, that is a good idea. But once you get the nutrition into the body, it's the healing that allows that nutrition to get to work and do what it's made to do. So don't believe as an adult, now I'm not talking about children, but as an adult, don't believe that eating all the time is how you heal your body. Eating is what puts the nutrition in the body, and then the fasting is what allows the healing to take place. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Victor says, are you talking about moles and skin tags? Absolutely, moles and skin tags. You know how you see a lot of older black people and they have the little black, you know, spots on their cheeks and all the way down their face and into their neck? Those are things that grow out because of the toxicity in the body, and the body can't continue to deal with it, so it's trying to find a way to get rid of it because it's overwhelmed. If that person that has those moles would take some of the things that I'm saying into consideration, some of those moles would fall out. Some of them may not, but they definitely would stop growing and they definitely wouldn't get more. So that is, a major part of what we're talking about today. Zena Hayes, thank you for coming in. So what I want to do now is just kind of mention a few products that are a little bit different. And let me first let all of you know that I personally don't have any financial gain and no, I don't benefit from any of these companies. And I also am not promoting any of these companies. I'm only using them as an example of when you go out of your house to start buying your products, you have to take some things in consideration so that you're buying products that are less toxic. I can't say that I can prove these products that I'm about to show you are perfect, that don't cause any toxicity. But if you take everything that I'm talking about today, you talk about the fact that you go outside and you get a breath of fresh air on a regular basis, hopefully every day. If you exercise, if you drink enough water, if you hydrate, if you eat the right type of foods, if you're making sure that the foods that you eat are the best foods, if you use the right ingredients to cook, the right spices, if you decrease the toxicity that you put on yourself every day, what are you doing? You're helping your overall body health. And then if you fast, all of the negative things will be taken out of your body. Alan Bowden says, actually, Elijah Muhammad, realizing the poisonous world we live in, prescribed a book, How to Eat to Live, and the many products offered by the Honorable Minister. Yes, that is true. Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So that's mostly where my philosophy comes from, is out of the book, How to Eat to Live. So that's when I made my transition. The things that I'm talking to you guys about today, I didn't learn in medical school. I learned that after reading How to Eat to Live, and then started applying it and got much better results. So there is all natural unscented beeswax as furniture polish. I just saw that today. I've never seen anything like that before. That's a pretty good idea, because the typical stuff that we use on a lot of stuff around our house, again, is very toxic. There is lavender and sage deodorant for your underarms. Like I always tell everybody, you should never put an antiperspirant under your arms. But when you look at the ingredients in this, it's mostly plant ingredients. So that's much less toxic than the typical stuff that people use. Here is some toothpaste that I use. You see on the front it says no glycerin, no fluoride, no foaming agents, no artificial coloring. When you look in the ingredients, how many ingredients? 7 ingredients. Purified water, bentonite clay, non-GMO xylitol, peppermint, essential oil, menthol, sea salt, and tea tree oil. Now, another interesting idea that we have to take in consideration when we're talking about toothpaste is that if you pay big money, because dentists aren't cheap these days, right? They're very expensive. When you go to a dentist, they will tell you that sugar causes cavities. Have y'all heard that before? I've heard that many times. But yet, every toothpaste that you've ever seen and that you ever read has sugar in it. So how is brushing your teeth going to keep you from getting cavities when there's sugar in the toothpaste? Another idea that we have to consider. I made a point in a program a few weeks ago about animals not brushing their teeth. And somebody made a comment to me that Dr. Akili says that it's not necessary for you to brush your teeth. Please don't put that lie on me. I never said anything such. I don't want to walk around with bad breath, funky teeth, and I wouldn't suggest you do. The point that I was making is that we have to stop letting ourselves be marketed to, and we have to stop letting ourselves believe things that isn't based in any thought process. There is no way that our idea about brushing our teeth is the greatest idea. I'm not saying that I'm going to stop brushing my teeth, but I believe that as I continue to research, there may be some things that may be better than brushing our teeth with this type of stuff that we do, because I look at animals sometimes when I'm around people in communities that don't have any teeth in their mouth anymore. their teeth are rotten all the way to their gums sometimes. I'm sure you all have seen some homeless people standing on the side of the road sometimes like that, right? You stop at the light and they're walking up asking you for money and they smile or they say something and you see that their teeth are totally rotted out of their mouth all the way up to the gum. But yet you look at the dog that's running around the neighborhood, or you look at the cow or the horse or a cat, and you hardly ever see a cat or a dog in nature with dental cavities. So the only point is I'm trying to inspire thought. I'm trying to inspire you to think through things, and don't let people just tell you something without thinking through what it is that you come up with as a policy, as a day-to-day thing that you do in your life. Don't just let people influence you without you thinking through what you're doing. That was the reason I made that point, not to suggest that people don't brush their teeth. I don't allow people to make comments based on what I say and turn it into something that it's not. No, that's not what I was saying for people not to brush their teeth. It's just for us to think through and think about what we are doing much more than typically we do. So here's another product that I just wanted to show you all. This is called Tiger Balm, and it is a substance that I use sometimes on my muscles. Sometimes when I've driven for a long period of time, or just doing some type of workouts, new workouts, and it is a little bit painful after you do it. This is something that I use. Again, I showed you that other ice product earlier, but this one, when you look at the ingredients, it's very small, so it's going to be very hard to see. But if you ever see it in a store, it's all oils that come from plants. And I believe it works very good. Now, here's a soap that I use, and I've actually heard some negative things through social media about this soap, but it works good for me. Again, I'm not promoting these products. I'm not telling you to go buy them. I'm not saying they're the best products. These are just happen to be the products that I have grown away from the typical stuff and start using. If you look at the ingredients, most of them are plant oils and plant substances, and that's why I use it, because when I take a bath with that soap, I don't have to worry about using lotion afterwards, because there's aloe vera, I'm sorry, not aloe vera, but shea butter in the soap. So it actually moisturizes your skin as you're taking your bath. And so that's just another point that I am trying to suggest today, is that natural products like shea butter and cocoa butter, when they come from the actual nuts that are where those substances are from, are a lot better than using some of these products that have 13, 14, 15, 20 different ingredients that most of the time you can't even pronounce. And I hope that makes sense. I think that makes common sense, that we probably will get better results from something that doesn't have such a big and more difficult to read ingredient list. So I hope I answered some of the questions about people asking what we can do and why we do something different, because I'm not going to go back into the eating and the hydration, all those things, because those are in other shows. You guys can go back and check some of those shows. But when you put the whole lifestyle together, and as my friend Victor said, if you start to try to spend some time and put some work into your life to keeping your health good, then maybe we as a black community and the community in general will stop having as many funerals and deaths and shirts that say RIP, and we'll have people that start really living a long time, because I have a grandmother that lived to 110, so there's no way that anybody's going to ever make me think that living to 80 or 90 is a long time. Living a long time to me is something that we should be saying that we don't even know what that is. We're going to figure out what that is as we continue to go forward. And so the last thing that I want to consider, or you to consider, is the use of mouthwash. I know a lot of people use Listerine and some of these other mouthwashes, and again, it's about, I guess, making your breath smell good when you go out of your house, which I can understand, anybody can understand, but I've had a chance to look at just about every mouthwash that's out there, because there are some other companies other than Listerine. That just happens to be the most common, but the ingredients that are in Listerine and some of these other mouthwashes are very, very, very toxic. They are associated with producing cancers, associated with producing tumors. And I suggest, unless you're going to go to one of the more natural products, you really have to get away from these mouthwashes. And the other thing about a lot of these mouthwashes is that people do the mouthwash in the morning, and then throughout the day, they're using, some of these strips, breath strips. So if the mouthwash was going to work, why do you have to continue to use breath strips all day? So having a breath problem or thinking that you have a breath problem, we have to, like every other issue, we have to try to figure out what are the solutions. What are the solutions and what are the ways that we have as a natural way to solve those problems? I had somebody just now on YouTube ask me the question, what do I think about oil pulling? Well, I don't believe oil pulling is a natural way to rid the body of toxins, because the body has to work hard in order to relieve itself of oil. Now, for those of you who don't know, haven't heard of oil pulling is when people do certain types of oils. Some people do olive oil, some people do avocado, some people do different types of oils, and they will drink large amounts of it as part of a detoxification program. And as you all hear me say, every time I do a show or every time you hear me speak, I always am going to do what? Go back to common sense. Go back to what? How does the human body work? If we go back to the idea that we started this show by giving God the glory and God the honor for what it is that we have as these beautiful bodies, then we have to automatically understand and come to the agreement, I believe, that he put everything in this body to take care of the body. So these ideas that you need a colon cleanse where you do this bottle on this day and that bottle and these tablets and these supplements, that to me is completely and totally unnecessary. Denise says, again, marketing and money. That's what most of the products that you see in any store on the internet that have to do with health, they're mostly about marketing and money. Because you don't need those products. You don't need all of these different things to rid your body of what they need to be more healthy. Your body has the ability to detoxify itself. Your body has the ability to take all of the negative cells, all of the old cells, all of the cells that are not working well, remove them and replace them with absolutely well-working cells. Your body has that ability. Your skin does it every day. When you take a bath with a white washcloth and you wipe your face or you wipe your body and you were sitting in the house all day and you say, damn, I was dirty. Look at how brown my washcloth is. You didn't do anything to get dirty. How did you get dirty? Where did the dirt come from? That's your skin cells you're wiping off. Every day, millions and millions of skin cells it takes to make your washcloth brown. You didn't see any bad cells because it's microscopic, but you're replacing your cells every day. Are you doing that inside? Of course you are. You're doing that in your gums, your liver, your spleen, your blood vessels, your intestines, your eye, your brain. You replace cells every day. So I don't believe that oil pulling is necessary. I don't believe that oil pulling I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it has the benefit that people believe. I always use the example when I talk about health about doing things that make sense, doing things that fit within the congruence of how the body works. So if we're walking down the street and all of us are walking together and I backflip every time I take 2 steps, we're not going to make much progress. And so the way I look at the way oil pulling affects the body is very, very hard on the body. Putting a lot of oil in the body is something that the body has to work hard to relieve. Your liver has to do a lot of work. Your gallbladder has to do a lot of work in order to get all that oil out of your body. So you're really overburdening your body in a different way other than the toxin way. And so now rather than one problem, you have 2 problems. And so we can make things much more easy by just doing what? Putting the right substances in the body and then doing something that's very easy, like what? Fasting. There's nothing hard on that. I was thinking more for helping with the hygiene breath. Yeah, I understand. And again, sister, I'm not trying to knock your point. I understand the point that you are making is a good one because you're trying to give some suggestions to alternatives to what we are typically doing out here. So I understand that your point is a good one. I'm just saying from my perspective, it doesn't really take all of that, because no matter what chemical you put in your body, as long as you don't do too much to kill you right now, your body has the ability to cleanse that out of you. Not with any other substance or any other suggestion other than what? Giving your body rest. So if you put the right things in your body and then you give your body rest, when I say rest, I'm talking about fasting, there's nothing that your body can't solve. Nothing whatsoever. Denise says, what about oil pulling for your teeth, not swallowing it? Yeah, that's the same thing she was talking about, oil pulling for your teeth. And that's what I'm saying. You know, either way, I understand that you all are trying to help those that are enjoying the show with some alternatives to some of the things that we're talking about that are that are toxic. But I'm also saying that oil pulling, I don't see where that fits within how the body works. So there may be some benefits that oil pulling does, but it's just not something that I suggest. So again, if some of you are suggesting that oil pulling does serve a benefit and it does some good things, I'm not here to knock that. That's not what I do on the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday, is knock other people's ideas. But if somebody were to ask me what I think about oil pulling, I don't think it's necessary, because it's just not in congruence with the way that the body works and the way that the body cleanses itself. I come to the conclusion that anytime a person has bad breath, there is a reason for that. There's a cause to that problem. And unless we start doing, like we were talking about earlier, start to try to figure out why these things are happening, and then figure out and start putting in the work on how we can do something different, then what you're really doing is going to an activity or doing something that somebody suggested to you that costs money that won't necessarily solve the problem. So now you have another treatment. And that's why we have the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday in the first place, because I was trained in a system, the medical system, that doesn't necessarily train us as doctors to give people solutions, but we do give people a lot of treatments. So if any of you don't have any questions from here at my three-person audience? Yes, ma'am.
What do you think about brushing your teeth with sea salt and baking soda?
Okay, so for those of you, that's my famous aunt over there. She asked the question, what do I think about brushing teeth with sea salt and, you said baking soda, right? Baking soda. And I would say that sea salt and baking soda are two natural products, and they are much, much better than anything that you can buy in a store. And also, as I mentioned before, this is the toothpaste that I use. And some of the ingredients in here are sea salt and some other things. And so my answer to my aunt would be that I think sea salt and baking soda would be a great alternative to some of the stuff that's in the store. And I wouldn't have any problem with that at all, because both of them are the type of products that help. Now, first of all, let's real quickly say that breath problems don't come from like you have something doo-doo or something in your mouth, right? It's actually bacteria. Bacteria that's growing in the mouth because it may get in between the gums or in between the teeth or under the tongue, places that we may not necessarily brush. And that bacteria is what causes odor. So when you use things like sea salt, what are you doing? Giving nutrients to the mouth. When you use things like baking soda, what is that? A more natural product that helps destroy the bacteria. So both of those products would be the type of products that are going at solving the problem. They're going at where the problem exists. So that's why those type of products would be things that I would suggest and think would be a great alternative to people going into the store and buying Crest or one of these other big companies, Colgate or whatever it is, that we do more out of habit than we do out of any knowledge that it's doing a good job, right? And then the other thing that a lot of people consider is teeth whitening or this or that, and this that's supposed to do for your teeth. Well, the reality of whitening teeth would take a lot of information, because you know there is a reality to white teeth, but there also is a reality to white teeth not necessarily being normal, right? Because if most of us look at our teeth in the mirror, they're really not white. They're more of a whitish, grayish color. And that's normal. That's the way teeth are supposed to be. The enamel and all those type of things, that's the way they are. So the whole idea of people getting their teeth more white comes from having fillings, not fillings, that's not the, I'm talking about, you know, people getting teeth caps, right? And where did that come from? More from Hollywood than anything else, right? You would see stars and oh, their teeth are so white. And people go look in the mirror and their teeth are not that white. That's really where that whole idea came from, of getting my teeth more white because of wanting to look like so-called more affluent people, you know? So at the end of the day, you know, having your teeth healthy is a lot more important than having your teeth white. So I just wanted to make that point. Couple of other points. Donita Lake says, Doctor, please at some point speak on how body odor can represent a person's health or lack thereof. Actually, that's a very good point. I mentioned that before, but we're going to talk about that in a future broadcast. Thank you for that. That's a good point. Alan Bowden says, another in giving your stomach rest as in eating one meal a day or less, which gives the stomach more opportunity to build up the strength to fight better. Yeah, you know, I've done plenty of programs on that, so I'm not going to necessarily get back into all of that today because, you know, some of my programs on the science of eating, I went in depth into eating one meal a day and even one meal every other day and one meal every 3 days so that you could never be sick, which comes directly out of How to Eat to Live by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Tanya over here on YouTube asked, did I hear of Weston A. Price? Yes, I have heard of Weston A. Price, have read a lot of his information, and think that he is a wonderful person. And those of you who don't know who he is, when you get a chance, check out his site. It's called the Weston A. Price Foundation. His first name is W-E-S-T-O-N, last name Price, P-R-I-C-E, Foundation. He has a lot of good information. That man has done a lot of good things to try to help educate people over the years, and I have learned a lot from him. So yes, that's a wonderful source to get good information. I think we are a little past our time, so we're going to go ahead and cut it after this last comment. In other words, in giving your stomach rest as in eating, oh yeah, we did that already. So again, for all of you who are common supporters and ones that come on every time I do a show, I thank you for your continued support. Understand, again, I am going through a transition in my life, and I will be continuing to do the Ultimate Wellness Group Transformation Tuesday. I just will be letting you all know. So continue to tune in to the Ultimate Wellness Group on YouTube. Continue to go to the Ultimate Wellness Group on Facebook, and continue to look for the future events that are coming that I will be letting you know, of course, ahead of time, so that you can continue to find news that you can use on the Ultimate Wellness Group, where we try to empower you for your good health. So until next time, remember, good health only comes by hard work. And so if your mind is on your health is on your mind, and you'll continue putting in the work that it takes to have good health. So thank you for tuning in again today, and we really appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Peace.
Very
It's
good.
great.
Very
Well,
good.
thank you. Thank you.